Hi, this is Kelsey Bleho, and we're going to be talking about cyberbullying. I created a staff version and then a student version, so the staff version will be a little bit more in depth. So we'll start off with a quote. The stakes have never been higher for students or schools around cyberbullying, so we'll start with that. So what is cyberbullying? So I just kind of broke down the different terms. So bullying is the act of intimidating or threatening someone. Cyberbullying, this usually happens on any form of technology. So posting rumors or hate on social media sites. It can happen anonymously. Cyberbullying is any type of harassing, threatening, demeaning language. And then I just put the definition of technology. Any form of technology, computers, iPads, gaming systems, phones, and it can occur on social media sites or messaging apps. So there's just kind of a broad overview of what cyberbullying is. And then there's 10 different forms of cyberbullying. I wasn't aware that there were so many, but we're just going to go through those. So exclusion from online activities, so that could be like group messages, group chats, things like that, so excluding people. Harassment, sustained and intentional messages to your child. So then there's also outing, which is publicly humiliating, private or embarrassing information without consent. Then we have cyber stalking, which means harass victims, contact and meet for abusive purposes. Fraping, impersonating someone and posting inappropriate things in their name. Fake profiles, to cyberbully, whoops, typo there. And then dissing, sending or posting cruel information. Trickery, gaining trust and then sharing some of those secrets that were shared publicly. Trolling, provoking a person to get a response, usually on social media. Catfishing, stealing online identities for deceptive purposes, so someone will pretend to be someone else to get information or maybe even meet up, that kind of thing. How common is it? So here's some just general statistics. Most of the time it's mean comments on Instagram, things like that. That's about 22%. 35% had shared a screenshot of someone's status or photo with a group to laugh at them. 61% of teens who reported say it was because of their appearance. 41% of adults who use the internet have personally experienced online harassment. 77% have reported that it was through Facebook. 7 in 10 young people, so that's a lot, 70%, experience cyberbullying before they hit the age of 18. I think it's why it's so crucial we talk about it now. People with a negative and violent home are 76% more likely to be bullied and more likely to bully others. And then one kind of quote I found from a video was, it's like a virus that is spreading. So kind of similar to COVID stuff, it's a virus and it just kind of keeps blowing through. I thought these were interesting, cell phone statistics and cyberbullying, kind of the connection between the two. And then schools that did not allow their students to use cell phones had reportedly higher rate of cyberbullying. I found that really interesting. Than schools that did allow cell phone use. Schools in both the less than 20% non-white and 20 to less than 50% non-white groups exhibited similar behavior, so same kind of ratio. Again, thought that was really interesting and wanted to include that. So the most common types of online harassing, so sexual remarks, online rumors, mean comments, others that could be just sharing things between people, posting certain things. So the other category kind of covers a lot. Forms of online harassment, so sent a screenshot to someone, trolled someone on an online game, liked or shared something online that openly mocks, had done something to subtly annoy somebody, and then sent a nasty message either privately or publicly to someone they know offline. Reasons, so most of the time it's for appearance, academic achievement, race, sexuality, financial status, religion, and then there could be other things. Most school students have rumors spread about them. So over 20,000 people, 70% of school students said that someone spread rumors about them online. So a lot of people. So cyberbullying for LGBT, 35% share of cyberbullied LGBT have received online threats. And then 58% share of cyberbullied LGBT have been a victim of hate speech at least once. And then girls are twice as likely as boys to be victims and perpetrators of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying, social media. So Instagram's the main culprit here. Facebook, Snapchat, WhatsApp. And I'm sure there's other apps that kids are using. And the types of games online bullies prefer. So there's these games which are like role play type games, third person shooter, first person sports games, and then just other online gaming where there's like instant messaging type stuff. So the impacts of cyberbullying, we all know it's really serious. It can cause depression, anxiety, can lead to suicide, low self-esteem, bad grades, and then some fight back, and then some also become bullies themselves. So that can be tricky. So here's some more stats on it. So again, skipping class, self-harm, deleted social media, had suicidal thoughts, so 25%. 40% had anxiety, eating disorders, drug abuse, so lots of different stuff that students are experiencing, and even adults. So what can you do? Speak up, stand up, stay away. This was on one of the videos that I watched, and I feel like that was really simple and easy to follow, so you can speak up about it if you see someone do something. I know in one of the videos they were reporting the comments, and then also saying a nice comment back. So even that could be a way to stand up, either in person or on social media, and then stay away. So like logging out of profiles, deleting accounts, that kind of thing, and just staying away from them in person to try not to provoke it, which all of these can be really hard to do, but encouraging our students to do that. So here's kind of some other things. Report it to the school. Collect evidence, so taking screenshots, saving messages, or screen recording what you see. Report to the site, app, or game. I think it's important so you can report it on there, talk to a trusted adult. So that could be us in the building. Demonstrate care. So again, make sure they're not alone. They have somebody with them at all times. And just make sure they know that they have somebody. And here's some more. So work together, gather friends, organize encouragement, that kind of thing. Tell them to stop. So again, that stand up portion of it. If there's a big group, it might help. Don't encourage it. So don't support it in any way. Don't forward it. Don't add emojis or comments. Stay safe. So don't put yourself in harm's way. When your emotions are running high, resist posting something that might escalate the situation. And then don't give up. Think creatively about what you can do to stop cyberbullying. So those are just kind of some other things that people can do. So here's some cyberbullying laws in the United States. So some of them include cyberbullying. Some might have a criminal sanction, school sanction for cyberbullying, school policies, includes off-campus. So it kind of just depends on the school. But a good majority have laws. So here's kind of some more specifics. As of 2015, 49 states, everyone except for Montana, have bullying prevention laws. Regular updated list of state legislation. Few states have criminalized cyberbullying, such as fines, even jail time. But some states have kind of struggled with this and kind of sent the responsibility to the schools to deal with. It kind of leaves like a murky water, especially outside of school. And then like the First Amendment for like freedom of speech, that kind of thing. So some schools are kind of struggling with how to discipline students for online behavior that occurs off campus. So within Poudre School District, the district that we're in, bullying is prohibited on all Poudre School District property, sanctioned activities, events, that kind of thing. Or if there's and off-school property when such conduct has a reasonable connection to school or any district curricular or non-curricular activity. So I think that's important. They mention off campus. They also list the definition of bullying. And then it also kind of gives a call to action for volunteers, teachers, staff, admin, that kind of thing, to who witness it to like immediately report the action. So yeah, I thought that was well worded on there. The consequences I feel like are a little bit more vague in terms of, and I think it kind of depends on the situation. So separating students who continue to engage in bullying after intervention. So it can kind of depend on the school on how they handle each thing. So yeah, separating students, withholding privileges from students. So it could be things like recess, field trips, participation in extracurricular activities, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what they recommended for consequences. And I think it's kind of school by school. What can parents do? So if you're a parent of a student or a child that might be cyberbullied, monitoring their usage online, which I know can be tricky because there's apps that hide certain things. Talk to your child, encourage them to speak up if something is wrong, and then just simply spend time with your child and get to know them. So how often do parents and children talk about online behavior? So 46% said all the time, so that's about 50-50. 40% said sometimes and 12% said never. So it sounds like a lot of these conversations are happening. Yeah, so we as staff have a big responsibility to help take care of our students and make sure they're learning in the safest environment possible. So if a student comes to you, just make sure you report it, make sure you listen, believe, and support, and then stand up if it's happening in the classroom, or if you notice something in the classroom, just make sure you report it. But yeah, that's all I have for you all on cyberbullying. Thanks for listening.